for your daily download this Tuesday morning. We're joined by Mike Yawney, who has scoured the web for the hottest things in tech. What's going on up there, Mike?
Well, let's first start talking about sexting. You know, it's ruined careers. People have been arrested over it. Sexting has been very controversial, but apparently it may be good for relationships. This is kind of an interesting study. It's by the American Psychological Association. 870 couples ranging in age from 18 to 82 years old have, they want to see basically how it affected their sexual relationships. Well, it turns out it does wonders. 88% of those surveyed actually sexted from that group. Also found out that the more frequent sexting correlated with greater satisfaction with the relationship. However, there is one thing to note. This study was looking at adults, but they also did look at teens as well, and they found that in the case of teens, it found that sexting always had negative consequences. That wasn't positive for teens, so something to keep in mind. But for adults, apparently sexting is good for the relationship. Our second story, Jill, you know, if you've ever been on a long road trip, you'll know sometimes your butt gets a little bit numb. Well, apparently that could be a thing of the past. Ford is coming out with a unique invention for the car seat, a seat that changes into 30 different configurations. So I think we have some video to show you what the seat looks like, because it is pretty fancy. Basically, Lincoln, they looked at the first-class cabins in airliners to see what they can learn from that. And so basically they came up with a seat that adjusts in 30 different ways, adjusts the neck, the back, and something we've never seen before, you can actually adjust the cushions underneath your cushions, your butt cushions. Each leg can actually be adjusted so your cheeks fit perfectly in the seats. The seats also have heat, they have cooling, they have massage. Now the seats are very close to production. We could see these seats in the new Lincolns within the next model year. And now if you're like millions of Canadians, probably one of the first things you go for in the morning would be a cup of Joe. Java is the #1 drink in Canada, even above bottled water. But if a Canadian company gets its way, we could change the way we get our caffeine in the morning. Maybe we'll start inhaling it. So there's an interesting invention out of Vancouver. It's called Eagle Energy. It uses the same technology as e-cigarettes or e-juice. It's basically vaping. So each stick contains guarana, taurine, and ginseng. There's no nicotine, no sugar. That means no calories. Now, its creators say, well, when you have coffee, you have to wait for your body to digest the coffee before the caffeine kicks in. Well, this is almost instant. There's about 500 puffs in every stick, and you get about 5 to 10 puffs per dose. Jill, you and I actually tried this. I was curious how this stuff worked, so I contacted the company and say, I've got to try this inhalable caffeine. Whoa, mama, that stuff it's a good kick. They definitely get a little jolt after a couple of puffs on that. A little bit pricey, though. For about 10 of those sticks, you're looking at about $80. So not the cheapest, but if you want your morning jolt, you never know. Maybe someday we'll all be inhaling caffeine instead of drinking it. For now, Jill, your download is complete.